Hey everyone, how's it going? Pixels here, and welcome to another ASYMR podcast. This is sort of a bonus episode. I felt it was very fair to get Weezy's opinion on all the stuff I shared in the last one with the screenshots from the developer, and I felt it was only fair we hear his opinion because he was, again, one of the bigger names in the Evil Dead community, especially over on Twitch as well. So I just want to ask you something, Weezy, first off. Is this the first time you've been on a podcast?
First time on a podcast. Yes. The nerves have hit, but I I'm just pretending that everybody's in their underwear.
It is very nervy though, because you kind of out of your comfort zone, and I still get nervous doing these, and this is probably like my 15th podcast I've done, and I'm still terrible at doing intros for them. Still terrible.
Right.
But we're gonna promise to try and not run this one too long. We just want to get some of the, just to quickly break down what the podcast is going to be about. We're going to get through a lot of the negative stuff, obviously, with the game shutting down or not continuing development. And then we're going to talk about some positive things around the game, which I think is only fair because me and Weezy spent a lot of hours in the game, and there's got to be a reason behind that. And I think it's about time we do highlight the reasons for that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our negatives towards the game, and but like he had said, and over 4,000 hours invested in to Evil Dead the game. There was got to be a reason behind that for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the first thing here, which is the game being set up as a one and done. So obviously, the screenshots I shared in the last one, I'll put them up here again. With the dev basically saying, it was for them to grab the cash and then move it on to another project, and taking the profits from that game. And what do you think about that?
Wow.
Like how they handled this game at launch?
Well, that's funny you ask, because I always kind of tell the story when we get asked this kind of question about developers and their cash grabs and everything. But to kind of veer off slightly, I think it was unjustified. They didn't do the niche community, which, by the way, was much larger than they probably thought it was.
Yeah.
As we all know at this point. But I believe that with them creating content around this IP and treating it the way that they did, literally off rip, it being a cash grab, like we're gonna do this and then we're gonna take the money and run. I think it's kind of effed up, to be honest.
It really is.
That's my opinion on that. But it's also a classic case of bit off more than they can chew, and I think this is always a great comparison. If you guys didn't know, okay, Friday the 13th, which was created by Gunn and Ilphonic, they had a Kickstarter, right, to fund the game.
Yeah. And
they had zero idea what was going to transpire. If you guys remember, back in 2017 when Friday the 13th dropped, they stress tested the servers for 25,000 people to log in day one, right? And for the first month of F13, we literally could not play quick match or public matches. We had to LFG private match everything.
Oh my God.
Because the servers broke. The reason why, they stress tested for 25,000 people to log in day one, and 750,000 people bought the game on day one.
Oh my God.
Literally blew up.
Yeah.
The servers. They had no clue. And at that time, there was 25 people working on Friday the 13th. I think 24.
Oh.
Either way. It was wild. So they had no clue, right? And this is what I think here with Evil Dead. We didn't realize that they would sell, 500,000 copies in a week.
It wasn't even a week. It was 5 days.
5 days. Exactly. And that's crazy to me because I'm sorry for rambling. I'm going to ramble, guys. I'm a rambler. But like I was always telling people, we know Evil Dead. Evil Dead is our favorite franchise, right? Our favorite franchise. But if you go up to somebody in the street and ask them, do you know who Jason is? Do you know who Michael Myers is? Do you know who Freddy is, right? They're going to know.
Yeah.
Because those are like household names. I still don't feel like Ash Williams would get the same, like, do you know who Ash is? Would that get the same response as those other three? I 100% disagree. I don't think they would.
I mean,
and so exactly.
I've got something to back that up as well, because one of the dev screenshots I'll throw up there, he basically vaguely says like Evil Dead the game is not big in Europe at all. So the budget of the market and stuff for this game was primarily US. So if you actually do like over here in Europe, so in the UK, it's very difficult to find Evil Dead stuff. Very difficult. It's potluck. If you go into like a gamey shop, that sells pops, collectibles, anything like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You it's very potluck if you find Evil Dead stuff. But they'll have big Chucky figures. They'll have big Freddy figures. All that, like the NECA figures and stuff. But they won't have Evil Dead ones.
Exactly.
That's what the dev referred to me, was like it costs like a lot of money to promote your game in Europe, and they didn't want to do that. So the budget was just strictly for the US.
Yeah, and it's interesting that is the case, because we still, especially when we had, cross-region servers with Evil Dead at the time, whenever it was enabled, we still were able to, and yourself included. You're in. Where are you located? Europe, right?
UK, yeah.
You're in UK. So you were still able to get your hands on this game, and there was multiple, family mains, killer mains, demon mains, as well as survivor mains that we matched up with against, that were cross region,
Yeah.
So
I think towards the end we were matching up with people in Australia, which
that's the worst servers ever.
I spoke to some guy who streams on Twitch, and when the game come out, and he used to love playing it, but he said I can't find a game. So when the game first come out, I don't think there was the cross region there until later on down the line when they improved the matchmaking. They probably just went, fuck it, let's put it across region. Who cares if someone's got 500 ping? But yeah, in Australia, they used to come in and just be like, yeah, we can't find a game over here. We're just isolated. So I can't even imagine how bad the game is.
They implemented that when MMR was like at its all-time high. When they like turned that thing way up, we couldn't find matches for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes even longer than that. That was, that was rough for us content creators, especially.
Yeah.
Because what am I doing sitting in front of a camera? You know what I mean? Okay, guys, sorry. 5 more minutes.
Just staring at the same lobby that hasn't been changed since
If launch. I was off stream, dude, I got a smartphone.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
But on stream, you got to be,
got to be professional.
Engaging.
Yeah. Exactly. And you can't just do that really. But exactly. I remember, just looking at my monitor, the game would, like, my Xbox would just go in screensaver mode, waiting to get into a game. I'm like, oh, come on.
How many times?
Wake up, man! Wake up.
Move our joysticks.
So with that, taking the game away from the Madrid team, how big of a mistake was that? And handing it to developers in Saber US, who, quote the developer, were incapable of optimizing new content to work on a Series X or a PS5 because of how graphic and demanding the game was. Do you think that was a plan from the start as well?
I don't. No? As far as the Madrid, development studio that handled this, like we said on launch, was beautiful.
Yeah.
And even though there was some, bugs and balance changes that needed to be off rip, we all, Pew Council, for example, those were the days. But they diligently fixed stuff. I do think that the swap to, Saber US was where it kind of really, really started getting, damn, man, I don't know if we're going to be getting anything good anymore. As content, are we going to get any form of stability?
Yeah.
Communication, dude. I mean, that was just the biggest thing. And we'll get more into that in a bit. But, I agree with Madrid. And like we said, with the screenshots you had posted, as far as them having a language barrier.
Yeah.
That was always something that I thought that they handled really well, because even with, like you said, the majority of this game being aimed at, United States and our common language is English.
Yeah.
How it translated out to that was well handled, in my opinion. But
yeah.
the Saber US team, not having people that were used to working on AAA titles, some not at all. Okay, this is their first asym ever. That's even another thing. Even if you handled games like single player titles, live service games are a whole different dog to deal with. And yeah, I think that was one of the biggest demises, was swapping studios.
Yeah, and I think that was a huge red flag for all of us.
Yeah.
For me personally, I always try to see the positive side of that. I was like, all right, so they're moving it to the Saber US studio, which is arguably a bigger studio. However, I think a lot of people didn't consider the fact that they were working on a lot of stuff there. I think Saber US still do World War Z stuff. So there's always going to be loads of different teams looking at all the different games that they're covering, like SnowRunner and all the games they need to update there. So Evil Dead was obviously not on the top of their priority list, and evidently it wasn't because of the way the game's gone. And again, it's a very weird decision. I feel like they knew what they've seen with Evil Dead, so the higher ups, the head of the beast here, possibly Tim Willits, has decided, oh, look at this cash we just got from Evil Dead the game, and look how fantastic, look how fantastic this game is. So we've got some high caliber developers here who are going to be working on a new project, Unreal Engine 5. We want to get them on that as soon as possible, and just take that game away from them so they can focus on that. And it's baffling to me to do that, because of the literal cash cow they had sitting right there, right in front of them. Even if you just took a little segment from the Madrid team just to put a little bit of love into the post-launch content even more from what we were demanding, adding chat, a new map every year would have been fine for the size of the maps that are on Evil Dead. I think even one map a year would have been okay. But
exactly.
It's crazy. I always get lost for words talking about it, because it's you can't comprehend the fucking decision making there at all. You can't comprehend that.
And you can't justify it either.
You can't.
Especially like you said, when with them swapping over, it ultimately became, like you said, the back burner. Okay.
Yeah.
Evil Dead was the afterthought, the bastard child, right? And what sucks is the skeleton crew, right? So we had this point of just a few people working on this and that. And then, of course, their brilliant idea to diversify the servers that were already taking so long to get any matches in, and focusing however much money they spent on Splatter Royale. Good old Splatter Royale, right? So Splatter was a dud. Reason one, asym horror, right? None of us really, truly, I would say none of us, I should say majority of us, played these types of games for that specific reason. Nobody gave a fuck about a BR, right?
No.
So it was a random decision. Very weird. But I get it. But they went about it wrong, and I'll tell you why. If you're going to make a Battle Royale version of your game, you got to copy Fortnite. You have to copy Apex Legends. The reason why, they still made people pay for the game.
Yeah.
What they should have done is have a separate live service. If they wanted Splatter to blow up, right, it should have been a free mode, period. Yeah. Warzone, Call of Duty. I mean, you guys, there's so many of these things, and that's something I'll get more into as well.
When you said they should copy Fortnite and stuff like that, I totally agree. But instead, what it felt like they copied Realm Royale. I don't know if you're familiar with that game at all.
Oh yeah,
it was the Paladins,
absolutely.
The Paladins Battle Royale, where they had like the different classes of the assassin and stuff, and it's exactly what we've seen in Evil Dead. And it just felt so wrong.
Yeah. Copy and paste.
Yeah.
And and a big shout out to Realm, but they also kind of have something in similar with Saber at this point. High Res Studios.
High Res,
made Realm and Paladins and Smite, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
They actually stopped creating content for Realm Royale, completely radio silent for 2 years.
Oh God.
2 years later, which was at this time last year,
Yeah.
Thor, who was a big time
I know that guy.
content creator for it.
Yeah.
He actually applied to be the lead developer for Realm Royale and its future, and they hired him, and they just released the battle pass last year and got new content. So hopefully, maybe one of these days,
but sometimes it takes that though. It's
the community brought it back.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And it happened. That Swing Point, who used to cover Evil Dead, he got taken on board to is it Turtle Rock, who did Back 4 Blood and Evolve,
right?
Yeah, so he got taken onto there, and he's a content creator as well. So it's like what? So they're starting to poach content creators to bring into their development team here, and you're thinking like, what? Why? Who's making these decisions in the actual development team? Like, do they not do their research in the market before they get into making these games? Are they just totally tone deaf and just completely out of touch with the modernization of gaming now? Because we just haven't seen that.
There's so much.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in recent games lately. It's like you just look at them. It's like you're not following the same demographic that's working across multiple games here. You're trying to go in the traditional route of DLC drops and stuff that we've seen back in 2008, and you're bringing it into a game in 2023.
Yeah,
it's like what. Are you guys being just gaming dinosaurs at that point? And obviously Tim Willits there, he's always Quake 2 and all that stuff. The way he's acting, it kind of draws into believing this is why Evil Dead ended up in the state it was in, because of literal gaming dinosaurs behind it. And Diablo 4 is dying as well, because you got someone like Rod Ferguson.
Tactics.
Yeah, you got someone like Rod Ferguson behind it, who worked on Gears of War back in the day, which was old traditional DLC. With Diablo 4, it's a little different. Yes, they are doing some live service stuff, but it just doesn't have the same type of live service quality that I'm looking for in a game like that, especially an action RPG.
Touch with Tim as far as that goes, and his promotions of Quake 2. The first red flag for me as far as what Evil Dead was and was in the scenario outside, because obviously we discussed this before in your chat with the dev streams, but the dev stream, I don't remember specifically what DLC, but they showcased a different game, some shitty game, the circus game. What fucking game was that Saber made?
One of them was a snowboard game, right? It was one a snowboard game and one was a rally game.
I know that those were games that they had, but this one was like almost looked like Nightmare Before Christmas type shit.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they promoted this game in the middle of their Evil Dead stream before we even got any Evil Dead content.
Yeah, that was.
You don't start it. I was like, wait, is this really happening? It blew my mind, because I've been in marketing my whole life. I'm 35 years old, by the way. I'm an old man teaching, and talking to these kids, but I don't have any coding or graphic creating experience. I didn't go to school to make video games, right? So I don't know the ins and outs of that, and I know it's difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking anybody that does this, but their marketing team is what I strive in and what I've done my whole career. And I cannot believe that was the first thing that I saw on that stream was a promotion for a different game. It blew my mind.
That was the stream I was supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was I want to say Mia and David. It was either Mia and David.
It could have been 2013 or Blacksmith.
No, the Blacksmith, I believe, was a video promotion, right? That's when they I'm sure that's the first ever one they did where it was just a video, because I think everyone was getting fed up with the streams after that shenanigans with the adverts, and then they ended up doing that one where it was just a video promotion, and they couldn't even be bothered to do a thumbnail for that, by the way, and I complained to that. complained to them about that behind the scenes. I was like, well, you're doing a promotion video for your hot new DLC, and you've got Sahinki on board and Cal and all these other guys, all these other content creators, but you couldn't even be asked to do a thumbnail to kind of like draw some attention to it on YouTube, because it's literally just a screenshot with Sahinki's webcam of some gameplay of Evil Dead, and that's it. So as far as marketing decisions go,
the auto screen or the auto thumbnail that YouTube picks out for you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it was. So as far as marketing goes for the game, that's definitely one of the high points right there. That's one of the best ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got so tired of going on Twitter, like them announcing a new character, and it would just be like a little animation of them standing in the red background that was on Evil Dead the game.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
And the sad thing is, the sad fucking thing is, right? We got Ruby, okay, and then we got Brock this year. And these two DLCs was when they got shit right with the marketing. We actually got trailers. We got, Splatter Royale trailer, what everyone, at least we got a trailer showcasing the update.
3 million people, baby.
Over 3 million players. Join them right now. But yeah, Game of the Year edition, Brock, Ball, we actually got some solid trailers there.
Yeah,
and they paid for marketing the DLC around and different news articles, because obviously, like, news article places aren't always going to do a piece on Evil Dead the game. Sometimes, a development company is going to have to pay for that, which they ultimately did. They paid for that for highlighting Splatter Royale being brought to the game. But for the final, the final DLC, we got the Game of the Year edition. They were doing interviews. Not that they were any good interviews, because everyone that watched it was just seeing through Tim Willett's lies there.
That was one of my negatives to bring up. If we want to remember what you're about to say, we can kind of divert. But the interview with Tim, with that YouTuber, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but it was hysterical to me, the way that they announced.
Was it Shack News? Or something?
Shack News? I think so. Something like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they called her Maya and Bowel.
Bowel, yeah.
Bowel. Like, what the fuck?
Bowel looks like a cool character.
Dude. Oh, man. You got to know your own product.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You got to know your own product, man.
Well, I think with the one negative thing about the Madrid team there was the Pablo's Fish and Chips outfit. He
was so jacked.
Yeah. But it's called Pablo's Fish and Chips, and it's not even his Fish and Chips outfit. It's his Jacksonville outfit when he's in Jacksonville with Ash, but they labeled it Pablo's Fish and Chips, which it kind of caused a bit of turmoil there with the player base as well. It's like, if you get it on Xbox, you're like, oh man, Pablo's Fish and Chips outfit? That's cool. Gonna have his little white apron and his logo, but now you get jacked Pablo from Jacksonville.
Yeah, jacked Pablo. Oh man. Yeah, and that could have been anything with the translation, but I feel like that was just a mistake, because even in proper translation, fish and chips is pretty easy to determine.
It is. We'll see. Yeah, so that dev stream I was supposed to be on, it got taken away from me because of Cal. Refused to work with me, basically, even though I kept offering myself up there. I was like, what? Well, you can't add me in the game. Why do you need to add me in the game in order to download a separate version of the game that runs the specific deal? Like, it didn't make any sense. And then I went into that Twitch stream. I was talking in the chat. He acknowledged every single fucking content creator in the chat, by the way, apart from me as well. I just felt like I was being literally fucking
duped,
ghosted. Dude. Yeah, full on ghosted by this guy. And I was like, why?
Which is extremely disrespectful.
Yeah,
especially with the amount of content that you covered on this game on your channel and in general, live all the time, every day. It was a very weird flex, I think, from Cal. Same way that they handled Zarko. We all may not agree with what happened with Zarko as far as him being banned, but the whole scenario with him saying one thing and doing another was the same exact thing that he did to you. Yeah. So
it was like, well, Zarko was like editing the game files, right? Like the foliage and stuff. but Cal said that was fine.
Yeah.
And then later, like a few months later, he was like, "Oh, here's a policy here, so I've got to ban you."
Yeah,
like something like
they
that.
literally rewrote the TOC for the foliage being removed from the game. Which, by the way, brings me to a point. How dope would that be as a killer main in Texas Chainsaw Massacre if we can remove foliage?
That's just broken. That's just broken. There was a thing on PC. There was a thing on PC where people were changing the brightness above its limit, above its limiter, which I think they fixed in the last patch.
Yes, mm-hmm.
But yeah,
they did adjust that in the last patch. But
you can't tell someone one thing and then go back on your word.
Yeah.
And it's like he messaged me. He was like, "Yeah, can't find you in the game. There's something going on with our back end. I'll hit you up once it's fixed." And I'm still waiting to this day to be hit up with it being fixed.
Yeah,
absolute
How hard
fucking
is it
nightmare.
to spell your name?
It was literally groovy pixels.
Yeah, come on, man.
It's like,
that's the biggest cop out that I've ever seen.
It is. I don't think they liked my Maya video that I did,
right?
Because I called them out and I was like, "Oh, this is a big flop. This is a big fumble on their behalf of them not getting Jane Levy to do the voice of Mia." I later on, I later down along the line and down the line found out that Jane Levy was the one that kind of caused that problem because she was changing talent.
Really?
Yeah, she was changing talent agencies, when she was supposed to be recording the voice lines for her. So it was kind of on her fault, but I didn't know that at the time. Obviously, I was like, "Oh, this is a huge letdown." That I just immediately blamed Saber because of the way the game was going at the time. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is a big fumble on their behalf."
Yeah, but you can't blame us for blaming them either, because we are just given with the content that we've seen. Guess what? All they had to do was come out and say something, which is all we've been asking for. This entire longevity of this of Evil Dead was just talk to us, man. Tell us something.
Just pretend that we exist. And I'll just quickly go into that. Just go into a little segue from that because it's sort of related about Tim Willits here. So as you say, just talk to us, and he finally, started talking to the Evil Dead player base, responding to tweets on his fucking Twitter page. After the game has finished its development, I never once seen this guy really talk about the game, apart from that interview we got after one of the dev streams when he was introducing Castle Kanda update, and he was like, "We plan to support this game for a very long time." That was obviously a very long time, being just over a year. But he actually started replying to people on his Twitter posts for Teardown. Everyone was just complaining about, why you're letting my favorite game die, which is Evil Dead the game. And he started copy and pasting some responses saying
same responses.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games as well. You can continue playing it, but we have to wind down on new content. I would have loved to make new content forever, but it wasn't possible. And he said the servers will be up for a long time. You can continue to play it solo or with friends or normally, in brackets. The game, or normally meaning Splatter Royale, I guess.
What is normally? How does that differ from?
Playing it solo with your friends. Or normally. The game is a lot of fun, and I still play it. Do you believe that? Do you believe Tim Willits is still playing Evil Dead the game?
You know why? Because Quake 2 is so much better.
It's got that 4K 60 FPS update.
Jesus. For a fact, Tim's not playing his game.
No.
You know why? Because anytime that I load up, I don't see his gamer tag.
No.
And there's only like 10 people playing this game right now. So
yeah, the only time he must be playing the single missions, the single player missions.
The first 8.
Yeah,
the first 8 single player missions.
The only 8. We were supposed to get 10. But I think that bought.
Hey, honestly, I really did enjoy the single player missions.
Yeah, they were good.
For me, I love unlocking bullshit.
Yeah.
I love every time there was an update and a new mission, I did the mission first, because not only whatever prize we got at the end of it, it's just because, okay, got it done. Now I can focus.
Yeah.
I have a really bad problem with completion.
Yeah. OCD.
OCD as far as achievements and trophies for you guys over in Sony Land. I'm an achievement hunter, and so I really did enjoy the single player missions. You know, especially on launch because they were fucking tough. People don't understand. They scaled back a lot of the difficulty on those, and so it felt good to accomplish those on launch because of how hard they were.
Yeah, I streamed the game at midnight when it come out, and that's the first thing I did. I went straight through those single player missions to unlock Leader Ash. At the time, you had to unlock Leader Ash for the missions.
Yeah,
his funeral suit, Amanda, Lord Arthur. Was Pablo one of the unlocks as well? I can't remember.
I don't think so. I thought Pablo was. Maybe he was because I know he had his own mission.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure he was.
You know, but you're probably right.
It was either.
It wasn't a skin.
Yeah,
because it took us over a year to get a Pablo skin, and then we got like 7.
Yeah, yeah, they were crazy with Pablo skins in the end, which is good. I fucking love Pablo. I wanted to see more.
I agree.
I wanted to see more, honestly. In terms of the single player missions, though, how fucked off were you when they brought the game for free on Epic and they gave every single unlockable?
Oh, dude.
From the missions to everyone.
Man. Dude, it wasn't even, fuck the first 4 missions. It was the Lord Arthur mission, of course.
Yeah.
That was
the real challenge.
That was literally the challenge of this game. Was that, dude. And that specific mission, I never got lucky and had Evil Ash unlocked or whatever. He got like soft locked into a corner.
Yeah, that happened for
me.
Able
to exploit.
That happened for me.
I never had
accidentally.
that fucking happen.
Yeah.
And I somehow like pulled it out, legitly. But it was just, it really settles in. And what was even worse was when they brought the red Savini skin.
Yeah.
After the fact for $3 after I paid $40 for the t-shirt and the skin.
Yeah.
That one stung more than them just giving everybody the.
Yeah, it stung for me as well about the pre-order skins and how fast they were put into the game. Because I think when the game first came out, a lot of people were complaining about, oh, I didn't even know this game existed, so I couldn't pre-order it and I couldn't get those skins. And it's like, so they threw the skins in the Castle Kanda update, which was 9 weeks, maybe it's 8 weeks just after the game came out. I've never seen a pre-order skin.
AOD Ash.
Yeah. So the Gallant Knight outfit, the ASYMR outfit. Okay. I think those were the 2 pre-order skins. Yeah. And they threw them in the game for £2.50 in my currency, which again,
I think I think that's $4.
Yeah.
$4 American dollars. I'm not sure what that conversion is, but yeah, it was quite cheap. And I think we discussed this before too. That's at least one good place that we have. And what we're actually having controversy with now in Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the cost of DLC.
Yeah.
Saber really nailed that on the head with the amount of content that they dropped versus the amount of money that they charged.
I mean, what was it in Evil Dead? Was it like $10 for you, right? For the Ruby pack?
Ruby pack was $9.99.
Yeah. And you got Jacksonville Ash, you got the Pablo outfit, you got the Kelly outfit.
Pablo.
Yeah, Jack Pablo, Kelly outfit, Ruby. I think that's, well worth the money there. They're practically giving that away. Yeah, there was
quite a bit. Yeah. And then obviously everything that comes with it, with not just the skins, but the character themselves, because, there's a lot of people that didn't even get to play Ruby because of them charging for it, but it was justified with having not just Ruby, you also get all this extra shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really did enjoy their pricing.
Do you think that was a correct way to do things though, from their point of view?
No.
and do you think it should have been more marketplacey where, I see Ruby there, I've got to buy like a premium currency? You think that would have worked better in this game than
I think
doing the bundles and the scam of a season pass? The
standard DLCs, right? Yeah. Season pass for sure. I agree 100% that is the case. I don't believe personally in locking playable characters behind a cost.
Yeah.
And that's my one gripe right now with the whole TCM update, as far as what's going down with, Black Nancy and was it Danny?
Danny, yeah.
Coming out soon. We'll talk about that, I guess, some other time. But
yeah.
Because it's not fair that everybody can't, you know what I mean? What if you're a huge gamer? This is all you got, man. You're a gamer. You have this. You want to play. Ruby's your favorite. Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
Your favorite actress ever. And while it's only $10, there are people that can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I think what should have happened is they drop all new characters for free.
Yeah.
Because they did that with Plaguebringer, and they did that with I think just Plaguebringer, right?
It might have just been Plaguebringer. I don't know if Blacksmith was. He might have been. I can't remember if he was part of the Hail of the King.
I can't remember either. I just know the Plague was brought for free, right? And so that was awesome, right?
Yeah.
But what you could do for the people that purchased said Game Pass or Battle Pass, or whatever, DLC, right?
Yeah.
You would have had just an exclusive skin. Once again, cosmetics are the literal that make the world go round, dude.
Yeah.
This is why this live service failed, because again, and Old Head nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
But that, when you have a live service, you needed the S-Mart, dude. We needed the S-Mart.
Yeah.
Okay. Some form of shop that allows us to spend in-game currency, in-game spirit points. F it, right? If you want to be like, yo, I got 10 million spirit points. Sorry, soul points. No, actually, spirit points.
It's soul points.
Soul points. To drop it. And that's what makes Fortnite so successful. That's what makes all these games that are free, quote unquote.
Yeah.
They don't charge. Fortnite made $7 billion in 2018 on a free game.
I think
billion with a B.
Yeah. To touch on that a little bit, I think a gamer, the gaming community as a whole has been started out really hating microtransactions. I feel like most of that blame was put on the loot boxes that we've seen in games, rather than it just paying for individual skins. I think now, do you think companies are too scared to go into that type of side of the game where they're like, oh, we don't want to have a marketplace because we don't want to look bad? You know what I mean?
I think I do think that most companies want to be unique, and they want to do their own shit, right? If you're making something, you don't want to be known as, oh, you copied Fortnite. Oh, you copied Dead by Daylight. You want to be respected and looked at as that you made something incredible on your own par. And I do think that sometimes that they are afraid to kind of dip their toes into that specific style of marketing and gaming, because again, they want to make their own unique stamp on the community. And
I think if I had go on.
Oh, I was just saying, but then again, you guys got to understand what works, and what works makes you money.
Yeah.
And when you make money, guess what? You can eat.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the one thing I would have done if I could have walked into Saber headquarters around the Evil Dead fucking developer table. I'd just be like, right, guys, what you need to do right now is heavily research the best asym in the market right now. You need to do a big research into it, what it's doing right, what it's doing wrong, and capitalize on that. Not necessarily copy it, do it in your own unique way. Find a way around that and capitalize on it. And I don't think that's because I'm so tired of seeing these asyms just come and go. It's getting fucking tedious at this point. And I thought Evil Dead was going to be it. I was like, oh man, this game's going to reach new levels. It was it's just so good.
Like the first asym with extreme combat.
Yeah.
And not just a hide and seek kicking a generator, there was so much unique about this game, and I still say it to this day that Saber created the best asymmetrical game
they
ever.
Really did.
They really did.
They really did. They
just fumbled it, man.
Yeah.
And
we say fumbled it, but it could have been all according to plan from what we've seen here.
Maybe an on purpose throwing the game. They fumbled in the end zone on purpose.
I mean,
right?
it kind of makes a lot of sense out of things, like why we were so fucking neglected all that time.
Yeah.
But like us kind of just being pushed away. So when they did eventually go, oh yeah, we're stopping development on the game, they can just take it on the chin, because there's just not that many people that care at that point, because they've been so neglected throughout the first year of the game. They're just like, whatever. I gave this game a chance for a couple of months, but I see the way the development was going, I didn't give a shit, and they've already moved on to the other game. So by the time they announced that, they just went, oh, whatever. Yeah, the game's stopping development. Who cares? I'm sitting here playing fucking Baldur's Gate 3 or something. Quake 2.
Quake 2.
Yeah, Quake 2's new edition.
Honestly, I feel like with the way that they handled that, and how they, like we said, there was over 100 days of no communication between final Blacksmith update to Ruby update.
Yeah.
To
that's got to be the studio shift.
An additional studio shift, right?
Yeah,
from Madrid to US. But also, even the day that they're packing up their shit in Madrid, right?
Yeah.
Be like, hey, let me log into Twitter real quick. Be like, sup, y'all? Hope all is well. It was never about content for me. Dude, I could play Evil Dead right now.
Yeah.
As long as we got steady, bug fixes / server maintenance, I could play it for the rest of my life. It's fine. I don't need new content.
Yeah.
It's always welcome. And it never was about that to me. Even the maps, dude. And I'll be honest, I know that maps are hard.
Yeah.
But I'm cool because I know those maps. Yeah. Learning a new map, while intriguing, is intimidating sometimes. And essentially.
Do you think a lot of the Evil Dead playerbase got sort of frustrated with that? Where they only had 3 maps, but they got frustrated with the potential of the game, not seeing a lot of the stuff from the source material. Like Elk Grove never got brought in. We never got a physical SMart. That when I spoke to the dev, he said they were looking at actually adding that at some point in parts of the map, but I guess that idea got scrapped somewhere down the line. Do you think that's what it is? Like, people just build a lot of frustration from the potential of the game.
Potential. Absolutely.
Yeah. Instead of just enjoying the game for what it is.
No, I agree. I do agree. I feel like, when you're told one thing and you get let down, it stings a little more. And regardless, even if they had come out and said it, hey guys, I know we said this, but it's not going to happen.
Transparency.
Do you know how much more we would have been understanding of that instead of just completely not saying anything, i.e. Nintendo Switch version?
We did get one update on that though, didn't we? I think it was a dev. It was a dev update on Reddit. Oh, back in
a couple days ago, right?
No, there was a dev update on Reddit for Evil Dead where they went, oh yeah, we're working on like early car rush and stuff like that. And then at the end they put like, we have news on the Nintendo Switch release soon. I don't know what date that was on. Yeah, you're going back to like August, June last year. But that was the only update we got for the Nintendo Switch release at post launch.
Right.
And every time you went on the website, it's just kept saying coming soon to Nintendo Switch. Soon. I wonder if it's still there. I haven't been on the website.
Another hit on the chin too that I wanted to cover was the ultimate disrespect. And again, I don't want to sound biased or boasting for myself, but for somebody that covered this game for the time that I did, you did it even 7 months longer than I did. I didn't start until December, covering December of 22.
I covered this game since it got announced at the Game Awards in 2020.
Right.
So I did trailer breakdowns. I did all the stuff we got there. Given my personal opinion on how I thought Saber was going to take the game. Like before launch, we had so many tweets, people responding to Saber like, oh yeah, this game's gonna be a cash grab. I'd be jumping on them, fucking defending Saber for that.
I defended Saber so much, man.
Yeah,
and
because of the work they did on World War Z, I was so blown away what they did with World War Z, where they had such like a niche player base of people who didn't ask for a lot of content. They didn't keep swarm like we did with Evil Dead. We asked for a lot of content quite a lot of the time, but with World War Z, we didn't ask for it, but they were still putting stuff in the game. You know, they did the whole aftermath stuff. You know, they released new missions. They added a horde mode. They added like a prestige mode in that. Like none of this was really getting asked for from the World War Z community, but they were like, we'll keep doing that anyway, and they're still fucking updating that game as it's going on.
Yeah.
So I think we'd maybe
still
just
stream.
We just
Saber Thursdays.
Yeah, the Saber weeklies. No, they're too focused on Teardown right now, the Minecraft ripoff, but
yeah, Teardown, man.
It's just, I think we chose the wrong game here. I think we should have went with World War Z.
World War Z.
As you said, you weren't that bothered about the content side of things, and I totally understand that. I mean, I got a bit frustrated with the content stuff because, like I said, I was covering this game since the announcement. I just expected so much more. And I think one of the red flags before launch was the actual marketing before launch as well. That probably should have give me some inkling of where the game was going to go, and I probably shouldn't have expected too much because, like I said, there was so many people who just didn't know this game come out. They missed out on those pre-order skins. They missed out on the collector's edition because they're like, oh shit, there's an Evil Dead game? Yeah, exactly.
yeah. No, I agree. I you know, and with the amount of time, and again, I got a collector's edition, started May 13th, like 2022. Every day played this game, 4,000 plus hours. I just hit level 982, you know.
Did you play both betas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing that really set it off, because my wife really convinced me to cover the game after the first, from May to December, well, like May to November 25th. I was just in people's streams and watching you and, like I said, Alucard and Sohinki and Kitty and all these people, but I never covered the game because I had actually retired from streaming.
Yeah.
When Mixer fell through, I had lost all faith in like my ability to regrow a channel, and so I kind of just, you know, focused on being, you know, myself and being a dad, and at that point, and then she convinced me, yo, you really should pick that up again because, you know, you got the voice for it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, you know, I gave it a shot and it blew up on Twitch and it was awesome. And I felt good to kind of cover that. And that's where from December of last year to now that we covered this game, and even like you said, you from an old head, May of, and even prior to May, I'm sure you have shit on. Let's just say April of 22 to now, you guys covered all of this. We covered all of this, and the ultimate, like, fuck you at the end to them ignoring us, to not giving us any transparency.
I know where you're going here.
Was, hey man, level 22 Cheryl build. Why don't we share this video? And no offense to the streamer. To the creator.
he's called Undead Zodiac, I believe.
Undead Zodiac. No offense to him whatsoever. I don't know the guy, and I have zero disrespect for him. Okay, shout out to you. But once again, how many build videos did you make? How many build videos did I make? I fucking made the same build video like 10 times.
Yeah,
just tweaking the little things.
Yeah.
Multiple hours of covering, you know, strats and this and that. Not one goddamn video was shared for us.
Yeah, I got about 6 Army of Darkness Ash build videos, like by himself. I've got about 3 for Leader Ash, and then I even did a final one where it was like a best build for every survivor. So I've easily got about 30, 40 plus, I would say, on build videos there. And then it's not just that, it's the tier list videos as well that we did.
Tier list.
I think, you know, Saber should have looked at those and being like, oh, you want to find out who is potentially the best survivor to play in this certain scenario, check out this video. Do you want to become a fucking god Army of Darkness Ash? Check out this video. But
I agree.
Level 22 Cheryl build, and what was the next one?
Level 22 Kelly build with melee damage.
Oh god. I feel bad for that guy. Okay,
and 1 out of 3 in Artful Dodger. 1 out of 3 in Artful Dodger.
2 out of 2 in Artful Dodger on Cheryl though.
Yeah, hey, you need it, man.
You need it.
Good God, dude. 1 out of 3 on a hunter, bro. Come on, man.
The only reason I would do that on Kelly is if I upped her cooldown reduction.
I think he put 3/3 tougher than hell on Kelly too.
Yeah, he did. He put full industrial, full tougher than hell.
Industrial, yeah.
He went 6 points and 2 health ones there, and only 1 in Awful Dodger. But the thing that got me the most, and I feel bad for this guy because he was level 22. He didn't know. He probably just like, oh, it's Evil Dead the game. I fucking love Evil Dead. I'm gonna do some.
Real quick.
Yeah, let me cover it. And I mean, it's a bit weird because they posted these are videos from fucking 5-6 months ago, and they were posting it now. Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? I know, right? I mean, fuck. Even I made videos sooner than 5 months ago on build vids. You know. So,
yeah, exactly. And it the worst part of the build was the deadly up close. And as he was leveling it up in the video, it says he was leveling up in the video. It was like, this is going to take your melee damage to the next level. And I just fucking...
Deadly up close
at that point, I lost it.
Weapon.
Yeah, I fucking lost it at that point. And I sent like 3 or 4 comments on that thread. And then we started getting the fucking toxic positivity replies from fucking Chris with a K, thinking he's all macho and a big man. He's like, I'm going to put these content creators in their place for being, spouting their opinions.
Man, what a weird event. What a weird style of events that happened there. And honestly, with as weird as it was, that is something that I do shout Saber out at least. And not just Saber, but any dev company that is willing to take a random YouTube video from a content creator and be like, yo, check this out. Why don't we share this? Let's get this guy some views.
Yeah.
That is wholesome. I agree.
It is.
But I also feel like the reason that they chose those videos is because it wasn't us, and we've been quote unquote shitting on them for the last 6 months.
I think developers.
My assumption is what happened.
Sorry, developers need to fucking understand, right? You need to listen to your content creators. That's negative and positive, regardless of what their opinion is. And if they're not name calling you or whatever, I mean, I suppose you can take some kind of name calling criticism as well. If it's not something too fucking dark, they need to understand that all this criticism is drawn from a place of passion. That's what they need to fucking get in their heads. You can't be so like weak-minded, thin-skinned about it. You've got to be thick-skinned. You've got to understand like they've got some really solid opinions there. So we need to listen to them regardless if they're negative or positive.
Exactly. And it's what they call, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Right. And it's literally what we were doing. And it's not the fact that I woke up every day going to Twitter, rubbing my hands together, be like, okay, what dirt can I find on Saber today? It never was anything like that, dude. No. We wanted this game to thrive, man.
Yeah.
Even during the times of no transparency and no communication, we were still streaming this game every single day, dude, every day.
Yeah.
And, it's just weird. It's weird to me that they even threw this guy to the sharks. Same with the new community manager. They knew when they put her on stream that it was about to be released to the sharks, right? And with the firing of Cal and that whole scenario, and then just be like this tiny sweet little blonde lady, who's very sweet, and I have nothing against her as well, but she got thrown to the hounds, man, and you feel bad.
It's I mean, if it was me personally and I got thrown in there, I'd be telling people where to go. But I think you would be doing the same thing, wouldn't you? You'd be like,
"Oh yeah,
oh no Evil Dead here. Shut up. We're focusing on Teardown right now."
Yeah, this is Teardown, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. I understand she needs to be professional for being the face of the company, right? But you kind of still got to call people out on that. If you are a community manager, you've seen it with Matt on TCM. You'll call people out on their shit. And there's nothing bad about that, and people eat that shit up. And anyway, the majority of the community loves it.
Wes retweets hate tweets all the time. I fucking love it. I love it.
And that, I think these are human beings, and you got to stop treating them like they are robots as well. And it's the same thing goes from a developer point of view. You got to stop treating your consumers as just a number. Like you got to understand that human beings. It's like me. I didn't get very popular with Dead by Daylight. I did a lot of it, but I did get the odd chapter streams where they go over 3,000 viewers on a concurrent basis, and I was just like, wow, okay, I blew up that time, and then I'm back down to 20 viewers the next day. It was fucking weird,
right?
And I was like, I'm so done with Dead by Daylight at this point. That wasn't the particular reason, but I just didn't agree with the way behavior was taking the game, because they added Trickster and shit at the time, and I was like, oh, I need to distance myself away from that. Yeah, different style. And I seen the Evil Dead announcement, and man, I went so fucking hard with that. I was like, oh, Evil Dead, this is gonna be it for me. I needed to be that guy. I made sure I was that guy, and I fucking put so much work into that, and just to kind of get on stream, building a community up, it became my livelihood. It became because I don't work. This is my job. It became my livelihood, and it felt like I was so out of control on how I could continue to grow because of the lack of communication, the lack of anything from this game to take my channel anywhere, because it just flatlined. It just went stagnant, and I couldn't do anything, and it felt like I was just like my livelihood was being destroyed at that point. And luckily TCM come along.
Right. And that's what's something that they should also look into, like you said, and not just look at it as a number, but a lot of these people need to understand too that when you're doing this full time, which I'm not yet, that is, of course, but it's a scenario of still the direction of my channel and where I want it to go. We invested this amount of time into it, and the way that they treated you and others didn't get that. There's no way that is something that they even thought of. Like, damn, dude, maybe we should at least say something for these content creators. Be like, okay, now it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Because if you gave me at least a heads up instead of just twiddling a fucking Cheez-It in front of my face or whatever you call it, I don't know, something on a fish hook, right?
Yeah.
Then I would at least know. Yeah. And that's, I think that raged me more than anything was not knowing. And like I said, if you were just more transparent, like, it would have been just more relieving for me, because I would have known. Be like, hey guys, it's not going to happen. Cool.
Yeah. It's like I mentioned to Old Head, though, about the community streams in the last podcast. I was like, what? Me and Weezy, we would have, like, not saying at the same time, or we could have done it at the same time, like just doing a weekly community stream around Evil Dead. Just talking to the chat, getting some eyes on the game on Twitch if they wanted to pay to go on Twitch's front page. You've got like your top content creators on there, ready to pounce on the new people, the people who aren't familiar with the game. We're ready to just bring them on board. Oh, should I check out this game? Should I buy this game? Hell yeah, get it. Yeah. That's what they should have been looking at doing. You had content creators there for your free marketing strategy. You had them, and they didn't utilize that.
And they had the biggest of them all this year with Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, yeah.
You had the literal biggest film in the franchise, biggest opening box office, one of the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes. Granted, the film was great, but not the best Evil Dead film, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Great horror film, great gore fest.
Yeah.
But there's no Bruce. There's a problem, right? So in that scenario, but you had a fucking gold mine. They had a gold mine. And
I was saying,
even if they couldn't get content from Rise into the game because of Warner Brothers and IP holders and yada, we all know all that. But the marketing, and I'll tell you one thing that really stood out for me with Gun, is the simple fact that they were able to get an entire Wednesday night AEW wrestling event, right? Which is
the
watched by
match.
Millions of people all over the fucking world.
Yeah.
That marketing strategy was pure genius.
Yeah.
Pure genius, dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
it obviously
all they had to do with that.
Yeah, it obviously would cost money, but if you've just made $25 million on your game at launch in 5 days, and God knows how much you made post-launch content, you've got to be spending a bit of that at least to promote your game before the new Hot Evil Dead movie comes out. And
Exactly.
I was asking people in my chat who went as, because I never seen Evil Dead Rise at theaters, and I was like, did they play a promo for Evil Dead the game before Evil Dead Rise come out? And everyone was telling me no. And I was like, are you actually fucking serious right now? Like, even going into the cinema and being like, you get like a goodie bag of Evil Dead stuff that you can pay for like $15, $20
download code. You know,
some like a 3-day trial for the game inside. Like doing Steam something code. Like doing something like that would have been fucking amazing. And
not even just. Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. It's I don't think it would have cost them a lot of money, but the return they would have seen from that would have been out of this world from what the game had already had.
Especially with the popularity that Rise gave.
Yeah.
And even if I was thinking of like, even if they had some form of like not a true after credit scene, if they even didn't want to do something prior. Like, but it'd be like, stay at the or past the credits for something awesome, right?
Yeah.
And then just promote the game, because people understand how fucking huge gaming is in this world. And if they just went and watched this movie and thought it was badass, right?
Yeah.
And have seen the franchise before, there is still people this day in the in the Discord channel of Evil Dead, the game.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, should I buy this game?
Yeah. There's still people picking it up.
Literally. And I just saw this guy yesterday. Hey, didn't see much promotion about this game. I just found out about it. Should I buy it? I just sat back and I just laughed, dude, because it's like, man.
Do you got to feel bad for them, though? I feel bad because anyone who come to my chat and was like, hey, should I pick this game up? I was like, get it right now while it's still got some hope. Yeah, and you get access to like 16 plus characters, and you get all these demons to play as. You get to play through the single player missions. You know, if you're an Evil Dead fan, you can kind of immerse yourself in the first mission there, where it's like it feels like you're playing an Evil Dead 2 a little bit. Like you'll enjoy the experience. You'll enjoy it. Just I always said, just don't touch Splatter Royale, because you don't want to do that. And I still fucking hate that Splatter Royale is the first game mode that pops up in the game.
I know, right? It should be in alphabetical order.
Not even that.
Asymmetrical.
You need player versus demon on the first one, and then demon versus survivor. You need them as your first two sections, right? Even they did that with the exploration mode. Imagine if you bought the game and like the first one was like exploration mode, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Just wandering around like nothing's happening.
Around AI, dude. That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
Do you think, if it's even possible, at least for the time being, if Saber actually implemented some form of update to bring the XP up from a player versus AI, or any form of like demon, if they just implement a demon versus AI mode, which I'm sure they've thought about, into the game, that way people can grind offline when they are officially no longer a live service?
I don't know, because I don't know if these are gonna, like Tim Willits is quoted on Twitter here saying the servers are going to be up for a long time. However, we go back to last year when he said they plan to support this game for a long time. In his vocabulary is clearly fucking 12 months.
Soon.
Yeah, 12 months. So we expect the servers to be up for a year going by this guy. I don't know if they'll be able to swap it to peer-to-peer. Meaning if you have the offline stuff, because according to him in an interview again, he said all the damage, all the health, everything's done on the back end of the game. That's why you have to be online to play it all the time. So I don't think it would be, if there is a way to do it, I don't know how it would work. It might take them quite a lot of time to put the game in an offline mode. And I agree with having the XP there to the increase playing against the AI. I totally think that needs to happen for people who are so late into the game, but they still want to play Evil Dead, the most recent Evil Dead game. Totally understandable. It's a bit different for someone like
yeah.
us, where we've got 4,000, 3,000 hours on the game.
Yeah.
Like
you can't.
we're not going to do that really, because
Right.
we've already done it. We're there. I think if what they could have done with this game, if they wanted to get a bit redeeming with it, they should have worked on a horde mode with some unlockables there. Just before they say that's it. That's what they should have done. Like, at least give us that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things I wrote down, if you don't mind me veering off
That's
for a
fine.
bit, was Splatter Royale, and the main reason why. Here's my thing. What really put this game into a free fall, in my opinion, was the Blacksmith release after that specific update.
The Blacksmith.
But the Splatter Royale update truly killed it. And I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons what I wrote down and that I discovered and let them know about, and nothing was done.
Well,
so first off,
before you start, I'll just quickly say they were hanging by a thread at this point with the prestige system. Mm-hmm. So they had to make sure their next update was fire. They were at the critical point of the game, and the next update had to be fire. So go ahead. I just wanted to add that in there.
Well, that's good you mentioned that too, because I do believe that prestige system is a classic case of don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
And with every other developer ever in the history of prestige systems has all been cosmetic.
Yeah.
Period. And with the extra skill points, granted, were awesome at first, realizing how unbalanced it was.
Yeah.
In both ways. So simple as that. But
so you called that day one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a problem the second we started doing math.
Yeah. I was the exact same. Did a video on it.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How this is what baffles me. How the fuck do content creators see the problems, but developers just they either don't care or they don't see it?
Yeah. They'd be like, yo, they would love this. They would love these extra points. You know?
No.
But again, none of us. Dude, when they announced Prestige mode and prior to them showing the whole fucking skill tree, were you like, dude, I can't wait to see these Prestige skins.
Yeah.
These Prestige skins. It's never happened. We got some fucking screamers that we don't even see.
Yeah.
The other person sees them.
I was really banking on them at like a Prestige 5, have the Deadite version of the character you can play as. Like, I thought that would have been so fucking good. And it's in the game. Yeah, it's already in the game.
They made it with Splatter Royale. Yeah. It was in the fucking files.
Exactly. Just loading in the game as like fucking possessed Ed Getley already. Like, it would have just been so fun. Cool.
And then when you got possessed by the demon, it would make you regular Ed Getley.
Yeah, exactly. But you still got the red highlight, so it's not like it would have been game changing, It wouldn't have been freaking your survivors out. Oh, he's a fucking possessed guy. You wouldn't be able to tell unless he was red highlighted.
Well, and plus there was multiple skins. And if we're talking Ash, because he's the face of the franchise, we know this. How many Ash outfits that we still didn't get? Like you said, the season 3 finale bomber jacket. Right?
Everyone made a meme about me with that. Everyone made a meme about me, especially on Reddit. They were like, "Oh, Pixels ain't getting his finale Ash outfit," and I was like, "It's in Dead by Daylight. It's in But Dead by Daylight has more skins for leader Ash still.
Yeah.
Hardware Emporium outfit. It's got his Asylum skin's got 2 versions of it. And Ashy Slashy Talks, and then you've got the Jacksonville outfit. You got the ugly Christmas sweater in there. That's just
there's so much.
There's so much for him.
Yeah. But yeah, like touching base with Splatter. Again, diversifying the lobbies, right?
Yeah.
If your asym is already having a problem loading up lobbies and filling lobbies and queue times, then implementing another game mode only diverse that even more. That was a problem. Even though I enjoyed the fuck out of Splatter when it first came out, I was clapping cheeks, dude, all over. It was awesome. It's a lot of fun. But it also implemented something that I discovered and let them be aware of, to which they replied, "There's nothing we can do about it." Was 2 separate bugs in Splatter Royale, which actually one of them leaked over into the asym. And the first bug was Ruby. Her Ruby skin
All right.
in Splatter Royale.
Yeah.
Actually spawned with 175.5 more health than any other skin in the game. And those are pure cosmetics, right? In a BR. So there's no reason why the skin should have spawned with more health. And it did. And I let them know that. I showed them the numbers. I recorded it. I sent it. And still to this day, if you want to play Splatter Royale, everybody, if you can find a match, pick Ruby.
Just make sure you get 10 friends to queue.
Because you'll have 175.5 more health than anybody else in the lobby.
That is ridiculous.
Fucking pay to win. Pay to win.
Pay to win. Ruby was pay to win. Come on.
Yeah. At launch for sure.
That's coming from a survivor, man. Nah, she's still broken.
She's still busted?
She's still broke. She is still a broken character, especially a Prestige 5 Ruby. That is just next level fucking game breaking right there.
Next level. Yeah. And then the second thing, which was the one that was the biggest, I think, drop off for demon mains. Okay.
Yeah.
Including myself and the rage that it brought. Okay. One, and I'm going to ask you a question to get your opinion to see if you will create the same team as I do. But anyways, the mastery bug. Okay. I recorded it. We did literally a 2-hour video on me in a private match.
Yeah.
4 different games, going around to every chest and finding 15 double barrels.
Yeah.
46 meat hammers. The nail gun is the most. I've seen nail guns. I swear to God, it's ridiculous. There was a mastery bug implemented when they implemented Splatter Royale loot, the loot pool. So the good example is like, you know those rifts?
Yeah.
When you were in Splatter, those little fucking rifts that spawned in Elite, those would always have, here's a improvised spear.
Yeah.
And the next one you do, guess what came out of it? An improvised spear, right? Every time there was a duplicating problem that implemented into the game, and it bled over into the asym. And meta, okay?
Yeah.
Who's your meta team? Who do you think is the best for Survivor team right now, or whatever, just in general?
Ruby, Hunter Ash, Support Ash, and Warrior Ash.
Right.
Or Scotty. I'm a bit between them two.
Yeah,
for the Warrior.
I mean, you're a Warrior Ash main, so I can't.
I can do crazy shit with Warrior Ash that I could do way better than I could with Scotty. But it's Lumberjack Axe is. It doesn't matter who you play at the end of the day. Most of the time,
who you're playing it with.
Yeah,
that's the mastery weapon that we're talking about. So it doesn't matter what. Where people literally ran up 200K plus with Mia. And a lumberjack. Okay. But also the machetes were a mastery weapon. They were fucking everywhere. So that's what I mean is double barrels.
Yeah.
And lumberjack axes. The main problem there, right? Because nobody picked up a fucking nail gun. Nobody ever picked it up. Right?
I did on David.
We didn't have to really get right. But outside of David, right? So but you have, and it's just it was an ammo waster.
It was,
well, it's just like fuck.
3 rounds on a pickup. 3 rounds on a pickup, and you could only hold like 30.
30?
It had 12.
That should have had small ammo.
Yeah, 12 round clips, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just burning through the ammo.
But the lumberjack axe mastery weapon bug, and again, it didn't even need to be a Scotty. It could be anybody, right?
Yeah.
You're picking up 3. There's a short that I have on my YouTube channel. Where I'm spawn into a game as Scotty.
Yeah.
And you know how when you spawn in, you can move before that timer starts fucking moving?
Yeah.
I literally spawned at the cemetery outside of Dead End on the big map. I can't remember what the fuck's that cemetery.
Royal
Oak Cemetery.
Yeah. I
walk up, there's a gold chest, open it, 29:59 on the clock, gold lumberjack X spits out 1 second into the game. I have a short of it. It's so funny. But that was the biggest problem. And the double barrel was even almost arguably more busted, especially against Necro.
You're saying this came in the Splatter Royale update?
Yes.
All right.
Only in the Splatter.
I only noticed that. I only noticed that on the Game of the Year update. Just after that, I started noticing, whoever I was picking their weapon would spawn so frequently in the
5
game.
different times,
Yeah.
right? You would have a blue, purple, gold axe, right? You would
Yeah.
have blue, purple, gold nail gun. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was the repeats too, especially with meat hammers too. I mean, there were just so many. But yeah, it was because of the Splatter Royale update and the loot pool. They wanted Splatter to be very even. You know what I mean? So for example, like, okay, if we're going to have one rift spawn a improvised spear, we want someone to have said same weapon so nobody has a larger advantage, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And it bled. And I proved it to them time after time, and nothing was ever done. And I think it was because they sent the Splatter team home after launch. You guys remember when it started, right? It was maximum 40 players needed, right?
Yeah.
Then 30, then 20, and now 10 to start a match, right? They had to literally dumb it down because nobody was getting in.
But it's not even that. It's like when you've got 40 people, remember how bad the servers were at the launch of that? 40 people trying to find a game, and it took like an hour and a half, and you actually got one. And if one person left that lobby, it was dead.
It would break it.
It would break it. That's what we went through at the launch of Splatter Royale. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it was
to think this was in fucking discussion with an IP holder before launch for 6 months, and this is what we get.
Exactly.
How much time, money, energy was just wasted on that piece of shit game mode that could have been like
anything.
Yeah, spent making a horde mode, or just spent perfecting your main game mode there. Because I always say, do one or two things really well. Don't try and do multiple things good.
Right.
And that's what they did with this game. They went for the I mean, I like the single player missions. You like them. I think everyone likes them. They did delay the game for the single player missions as well, because everyone was bitching about, oh, there's no single player mode. I'm not playing. I'm not buying the game. Yeah.
No. You know, and I do wish that they would, even if it came to a remaster of, like, you know, Fistful of Boomstick or something like that. But that style of Evil Dead game, I would love to play again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 100%. Like, I love the fixed camera angle stuff, like survival horror. Like, I'm all about it.
Think of what they did when they remade Tomb Raider, which, by the way, is fucking awesome. Crystal, who made it? Crystal Dynamics. What is it? Dynamics, right? Yeah. Nailed the Tomb Raider remakes, and if anything relatable to that style of game, but Evil Dead related in the Evil Dead universe, I think would be fucking awesome. They're
owned by Saber now, aren't they? Or Embracer Group. No hope.
Embracer.
Hope is lost. Hey, I mean, the Madrid team's working on a new Unreal Engine 5 game. Maybe that's an Evil Dead single player. I mean, that would be fucking dope if they've still got the contract with their IPs.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be
another football game too. Who knows?
Well, I hope the Madrid team is solely their horror side of things. I think that would be a good idea. Like,
I hope so.
Keep them all on the same genre, making some good AAA horror games. But to go back to Splatter Royale, and you know, just the multiple game modes that they were doing in this game, I think is also one of the huge downfalls of it. Because they're taking time to develop. Oh, the hair and spectator mode on Splatter Royale isn't working correctly as intended. We've seen that in about 3 fucking patch notes for the game. I was so tired of seeing it. And then, you know, them trying to design new single player missions. They're making sure the exploration mode's running fine with a photo mode that literally just removes the hood. And then there's the survivor versus AI side of things, where they were actually adjusting some AI changes in there as well. So it's like they're looking at all these different game modes. They all got different problems, and they're scrambling around trying to fix it instead of just focusing in on those 2 main things, which could have been the single player missions and the asym mode that we got, instead of all this side shit that just really didn't matter that much in the game. And
fixing things that were needing to be more important to be fixed.
Yeah,
because I never even noticed the hair clipping in Splatter Royale being killed in a car. What even is that, right? I don't care, right? But you know, when we still had the similar, and this is going to be a demon point of view because of course I played both sides, but I more or less have seen it happen with the railings, and that was the biggest problem was rail hopping. And again, whatever, right? You can leave and go focus on someone else.
Yeah.
But if it's the last survivor of the game, holding the game hostage, the simple fact of even if one is on a objective, right? Iframe spamming.
Yeah.
There were so many things that was an issue. For example, the one that always comes to mind is going to be Fishing Village.
Yeah.
Right next to where the dark ones would spawn on Fishing Village, but in the field.
Right. Yeah.
House.
Yeah.
There was an objective there. That there was a big fucking rock on the objective. You know which one I'm talking about. The rock. There was a railing right there.
Oh, is that?
And the blue line overlapped. The blue line of the objective overlapped the railing, and as a demon, we couldn't break those railings, and they could just frame hop the whole time. And so those were examples of part of the game that I personally agreed. Even when I was playing Survivor, I was like, yo, this is too OP.
Yeah.
Because it's invincible.
Well, I think that's just an example of them being totally out of touch with their asym mode and too focused on, we need to get the next single player mission out. We need to get Splatter Royale done.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in just talking and balancing and overall, I don't like to get in the whole topic of balancing. I never used to play a lot of demon. I did get all the demon achievements. I played a lot off stream. I didn't play it a lot on stream because I would personally just find it really difficult sometimes to play demon on that when I need to look at my chat and re-chat all the time.
Right.
And that the main reason I wanted to play demon was just to kind of understand the struggles of what people were going through. So from my point of view with demon, I never really experienced that real hopping thing, but obviously it does sound like an issue, and I never did that on Survivor that much. The main thing I used to do was kind of run them around rather than doing the whole rail hopping shit. The mechanics on demon for me was the biggest sort of problem. Like I when I envisioned this game before it came out, I was like, dude, it's gonna be so cool possessing stuff in the environment, but the game's come out, all I can do is possess a tree and a deer head. It's like it's fucking Evil Dead. Obviously you can possess a car as well, but I needed more objects around the objectives. I think that should have been a key thing there, where it's like these different objects do different things rather than just spike fear up. They actually deal a shitload of damage.
Yeah.
Right.
Imagine like livestock.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Cool if there was like this random deer or elk lying around, flying around. It is Elk Grove.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. There was just the mechanics missing on Demon for me. And it felt very, very basic. And I kept saying it with Ball before Ball come out. I kept saying the problem with Demon, the most tedious part is setting down traps, trying to gain that level early game. And I said, why do we not have a button where it's just a little radius where we instantly set down traps? And boom, they added it a Ball a few months later when I said that.
It's crazy. And his ability was awesome. And obviously
I think every demon needed it.
Especially in spirit mode. Yeah. With his speed. That would have helped all the other 4 demons be a little bit more, and energy gain and trust. We all know that builds were built differently for this reason. Yeah. For example, like Warlord, why does her fucking units cost so much, right? Yeah. And even if there's nothing. By the way, the Warlord tree is the absolute fucking worst tree.
I know. I designed a Warlord build the other day on my last stream, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty bad skill tree.
Horrendous skill tree. The worst in the game, dude. Yeah. At least all the other demons have something at the beginning of that tree. Yeah. But neither here nor there, like we said, we're not going to get into balance talk, but you saw what it is. It helped with traversing the map, dude, in general. And it was, catching up to cars. And, you might not have, abused rails or the other one, which was abusing cars. And how many times did they try and nerf cars and this whole RNG system?
Took off 100 HP.
Exactly, dude. The 100 HP, man. And then the whole RNG thing, like it never really worked. You know, it was always still 35 cars. And
Yeah.
um,
I think cars
it is what
towards
it
the
is.
end, being a survivor
Yeah.
main became a joke, to be honest.
Exactly.
I never used them that much unless it was the big map. I used to always enjoy, because I knew
Walking.
I was in the power rule. I knew I was, I could strip my shit with Army of Darkness Ash and didn't give a care in the world. And it made the game more enjoyable for me, because then I knew if the demon came over me, I'm going to have more of combat here instead of getting in a car, driving the next objective, and just being like, I'm standing on an objective now.
Yeah.
I personally enjoyed the walking scenario a lot more. And a lot of people in my chat was like,
when I was Hunter.
yeah, it's like loads of people in my
When I
chat
was
were
Hunter,
like, why aren't you using a car? I'm like, because I'm being immersed. I want to play the game out and see how it goes, give the demon more of a chance to actually fight us rather than just being in the car, because I knew cars were just totally shit. They
Right.
really were. And I think they probably should have just been removed.
But yeah, understandable with, the cars and the whole thing. And that's what resulted to us. And, being a demon main for the last half of my, streaming adventure with Evil Dead, the game, really, when I switched to like full-time demon on stream, there was a lot of people that gave me shit for car flipping. And we understand that this was most likely not an intentional mechanic, that the devs were like, yo, let's make it flippable so you can, fuck the survivors over. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Demons could do was probably not intended by the developers.
Right.
Because there's even an interview with one of them where he's like, oh man, we didn't think people would be going away and setting the floaters in a hidey spot. Like, what? What? Like, the fucking developer said that, you have a skill that literally ups his range, but apparently we didn't foresee the player base.
Or armor.
Yeah, we didn't foresee the player base actually going away and setting that guy down in a hidey spot.
So what did they test with the flute then?
That's what I'm saying. But that's what they said in one of the last interviews. Was like, our player base is so creative, they're going away, they're putting the floaters down at a distance. And I was just like, and they were like, we never even thought of that. Like, what monkey brains made this game?
Right.
Yeah, and there was one mechanic I wanted to see on Demon before we move on to one other subject, is like a portal. Then this is how I also envision Demon: a portal that you throw down that has a timer on it that will just constantly send out deadites, rather than just jump in a portal and it's like three or four deadites coming out of it.
Right.
Yeah, like again, it just boiled down to the Demon not having enough mechanics,
not enough tools.
Yeah,
right?
To combat the overpowerness that the survivors could have.
And to bring out the staleness of, like you said, just, okay, game started, and I'm going to go hold Y over this trap. And then I'm going to do it again and again and again, right? So, even if it had costed, like your entire energy bar, like, let me drop this, God portal off, right? Where it's just spitting stuff out. That'd have been a good idea. Yeah,
and the game would have handled it. I just thought, in general, the whole split capping could have been dealt with that a bit as well. Where if they decide to split cap, the objective would actually spawn some fucking heavy elites at you in a unique way, rather like to combat the split cap. And if they didn't want that in the game, but it's just.
But also to implement, teamwork and staying together. Yeah, it could have been easily taken care of by that. You can only start one objective at a time.
Yeah, and if you're not sticking together,
spawning, it randomized which one. If it would, okay, today, this game, the dagger spawning first, and you have to go there and do it. Like, it just would have been a whole different thing. But
and they said, they kept saying, split capping's going to be a more competitive side of things, more advanced tactic from the survivors. But, like, it's just so easy to do with so many characters, especially with Leader Ash. I think Leader Ash is one of the best for it, just because he can spam the iframes. 4 fucking dodges, by the way.
4 dodges, iframe spams, and
just can't be possessed.
What's the other one? I mean, your fear mitigation, but of course, test. What is it? Not test of time, but the other one.
A fast forward.
Fast forward.
Yeah.
Right. Test of time is
It's not-
here.
like you felt
Yeah.
like just one man army with that guy because of what he could
Exactly.
do. The fact when they gave him 4 dodges, I was just like, man, okay, this guy is just gonna be broken. And it happened with all the leaders nearly, apart from Lord Arthur. He was deemed to probably be the worst leader there.
I agree.
But I don't know why they ever bothered doing that for leaders. And again, it would kind of go over the whole out of touch with the community thing here. And do you feel like they were just winging it? Do you think they actually listened to our feedback in terms of balancing the game? And like for Survivor, because I felt like Survivor, it was like, look how long Hunter Ash went on for. And Ruby took a long time to fix, and just randomly changing the pink fuck upgrades on leader.
And just knowing math in general, they didn't know numbers, right?
Yeah.
And the mitigation, especially with Annie. Annie was a big problem, okay, with her buff. But obviously Ruby was game breaking. But it was just the fact of it was there from launch that Annie was fucking overpowered.
Yeah.
You know, super good. Granted, you know, prior to the 4 dodge, you know, update or buff to leaders.
Yeah.
There was that point where, you know, leaders were a little bit of an afterthought. You know, a lot of people running double warrior comps.
Yeah.
And
they were.
You know, etc. Triple warrior comps. You know, with a sash or something. But there was just a lot of things that could have, you know, changed. But I don't think that they particularly listened to any of us outside of the Reddit page.
No.
Reddit, man. It was it. It was just the Reddit trolls that made everything, because they were always on Reddit, dude. They were always on Reddit.
Reddit and a certain guy that we won't name that never played a demon game in his life. But this
man. Yes, certain guy. Yeah.
I think they were just really out of touch with the balancing. And from what we were promised at launch, where we can balance this game on the fly because everything's on the back end. You won't have to update the game. You know, if something's looking too strong, we're going to bring that down. Didn't happen once. Didn't happen once. And apparently someone questioned Cal about this, and his response was, yeah, but that stuff's still got to go through testing. I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of a weird, it's kind of a weird response, because we still got to fucking update the game when we get a balance patch.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're going to put your game on the back-end servers, do what you're going to fucking say. But again, that's just another lie from Tim Willits. And I want to go back quickly, since we just talked about balancing, even though we said we weren't going to. But, you know, it's the end of Evil Dead, the game. We need to look at these things. We need to talk about them. So when you said with Evil Dead Rise being a really good marketing strategy, and they have just announced that the TV show is going on Hulu.
Right.
And at the same time, this game's not getting any more content. How many people do you think would have checked this game out after seeing it on Hulu? Because obviously it was on Netflix for a long time. I personally watched it because it was on Netflix. Yeah. And I'm relatively new to the Evil Dead license. The franchise.
All of it's good, dude. Any form of publicity, especially in a mass like that, with you know,
a streaming
millions
service.
Of dollars at the box office. How many users have Hulu?
Yeah.
With the content of the series, of it being, you know, just your awesome gore, choreography,
and the
acting,
the parody side of things,
Bruce comedy, sex, all of it, dude. It's all in there, right? You know, and all of it sells, dude, believe it or not. And with Hulu and the announcement recently, I'm happy, because of course I always want to, you know, throw it on when I'm, you know, needing something to just put on for the day.
Yeah, just like the back end, the background noise or something. You always get a good laugh at it.
Exactly. And still to this day, a good friend of mine actually just went to a horror con, and the actors for Kelly and Pablo, Ray Santiago, right? We're at this this convention, promoting Evil Dead together. Evil Dead, Ash versus Evil Dead together. And like this would have been the perfect opportune time because guess what? We were in the Ash versus Evil Dead update range when this happened, right? Like what the fuck? If this was Kandar time, and again, I don't know, maybe they put them out of order.
Yeah.
Did they take too long from Stars to give them the go ahead? Which I don't understand why, because if they did have issues with Stars, how did we have Pablo and Kelly at the beginning of the game?
There's no way Stars was the problem.
Yeah.
There's no way, because Stars have been very free with the license. You know, like it's the Stars license in DVD. Look how much shit they've put in that. Yeah. And even in the game, you've got Elagos there. I don't know if Henrietta falls under the Stars license. She probably might be Studio Canal or Renaissance, whoever did Evil Dead 2. But in general, most of the stuff in the game is Ash versus Evil Dead still.
Yeah.
And I think, personally, and I always say this, I think if the game was Ash versus Evil Dead, the game, we didn't have all these other Ashes, and it still would have been as successful.
I agree.
And you wouldn't have seen these iconic characters, I guess, like Lord Arthur, Henry the Red, all the old school actors. But if they just focused on the TV show, because there was so much stuff in there that you could have used. You could still use Henrietta. You know, Lem never came to light. A lot of people suggested Lem to be a new demon. It was just so much source material from the TV show to then be expanded upon within the game as well. Like we never got in season 4 the whole wasteland stuff. And I think it could have just been just as successful as the game was. And it would have only been one IP holder and Sam Raimi. Like that's all you'd have to deal with instead of 7 investors and fucking Lionsgate, Studio Canal, Renaissance Pictures, Stars, Sam Raimi being one of them. Yeah. Diversion 3 being there. Like all these different IPs, and then Sony Pictures as well, because that was the 2013 license. And you're just like, what is going on? Why is there just so much shit to deal with here? We wanted to talk about the future of ASYMs really quick.
Yeah.
Like, how does that look? Where do we go from here after TCM?
I mean, Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
Wes did kind of tease a little bit.
Halloween.
Yeah. He said he's not, in the running to make a game right now, but he would be totally up for it. And then I think that Michael Myers would be the end all be all, because even with Leatherface being Leatherface, and a household name, Michael Myers is a much larger household name.
Do you think Michael is the horror icon?
I think absolutely. The reason why is because even though Jason is my favorite slasher villain, just because I'm a huge hockey fan, I believe that Michael Myers is the GOAT. The reason why is because 1978, man. I mean, that was this particular film right here. Really put the slasher genre on the map, even though there were slasher films prior to Halloween. Michael brought it out. Now,
what was before Halloween? Probably just Texas, right?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
and a couple of others.
Right, a couple of others.
The first
were like
Friday
Italian films, and
the first Friday was 1980, wasn't it? Because I watched that for the first time the other day, actually. Because I'd never seen the original. I'd only seen the remake, and I was like, oh, I'll check out the original. It totally threw me off that I was like, oh, this is Jason killing everyone, and it was his fucking mom.
No, his mom. That's always a great trivia question to kind of fuck with people.
Yeah.
I used to host trivia night at a bar that I worked at, and everybody always got it wrong. I always say, in the original 1980 Friday the 13th film, who was the killer? And everybody's response.
Jason.
Jason. Every time they got it wrong, it was fucking his mother.
Yeah,
awesome.
It threw me off, man. I was like, what?
Good as an M. Night Shyamalan twist for you right there.
It is.
However you say his last name, dude.
So, what do you think for the future of ASYMs after Killer Clowns and Carnival Hunt and the potential Halloween?
Well, as much as I would love to predict the future and see, I really don't know where it goes from here, especially with the handling of Evil Dead and what seems to be the massive gripe towards gun right now and their DLC prices of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Do you personally agree with all those? Just on a side note.
Disabling of crossplay. Yeah. All that. I really don't know where it's going to go. No. Yes and no. I do agree with the $16 skin. I'll say it till I die.
Yeah.
Fine with that. Greg, the Delatorno skin, right? Whatever. How do you say it? Nicotero. Yeah. Right. His skin, he's a horror icon. He's worked on so many things, 40 plus years, like you said. And it's justified. Yeah. But like I had said prior in this podcast, you know, charging for new characters, I feel is a little fucked because there's two things for that. One, if you don't have the means of paying for it, then that seems to be an issue for me because again, some people can't afford it and that means they'll never be able to.
They're going to have to save up them Xbox gift cards that you earn the points. But yeah,
but also it means that people are going to pay $10 for them to pick Black Nancy, and when they load into a lobby, somebody else is going to pick Black Nancy, and then they're going to back out. Yeah. The same thing happened with Ruby, and the same thing happened with Brock and Blacksmith, and any new character that they added. It was an issue with Evil Dead. People backed out.
I don't think we've seen it as much compared to when Ruby dropped, because everybody wanted to play Lucy Lawless.
Exactly.
And it was a bit similar with Mia as well. When Mia dropped, we had that. To be honest, actually, I think Mia softened the blow a little bit, and because we had David there, so it was like the two new survivors.
Yeah, it was a dose. You got two at a time.
So if you couldn't play Mia, you were like, "Oh, I'll check out David instead." Then.
So here's how you fix this, right? Yeah. 2 killers, 2 family members, 2 survivors. Yeah. Simple. So instead of just having Black Nancy and Danny, we need to have 2 family members added and 2. And if you want to charge $10 for them, great. You know, 10 for 2, right?
And you don't necessarily have to do it for both sides at the same time on the same update. Like you can drop 2 victims in one update and then drop 2 family members in the next update, and just see the meta shift go on from there.
Yeah, and balance around it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
something like that.
I'll quickly give you my take on what I think the future of ASYMs is.
Sure.
Right.
And then we'll go into the positives.
Yeah. So for the future ASYMs, I personally want to see a Stranger Things one. I think.
Oh yeah.
Because we've had Evil Dead, and that was, you know, my favorite horror franchise, and you know, Stranger Things is sort of horror, sci-fi horror. I need to see that in video game form, and I think this could be happening just because we have seen no collabs or anything for that franchise since it got taken out of Dead by Daylight in video games. We've seen one puzzle quest game or something on mobile, and that's it. How hard would you go for into
hard
that?
As fuck.
Like harder than TCM and Evil Dead?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, would be the outside of Evil Dead, probably, but for sure, I would probably go harder than TCM just because Evil Dead will always be a part of my life, even prior to the game. You know, it just Bruce to me is one of the most underrated actors of all time. Yeah, and
I love him in everything else.
I mean, he got his big shot, right? You start with a small camera out of college, making Evil Dead for like $20,000, and then you're directing Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So big props to Sam Raimi for sure.
And I mean, his latest biggest movie was probably Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah,
Multiverse of Madness.
Strange,
yeah,
Marvel, dude. The fact that you're even a Marvel in the breath of Marvel Studios, you've made it.
Yeah, well, and I think that could be a problem with Evil Dead now. It's like he's too busy caring about his Marvel projects to really care about Evil Dead now, isn't it? To where I think it's at the point now where Evil Dead needs to consolidate its licenses. It needs to get it under one roof, one leader of the pack, one of the IP. Dude. Just single it, because 7 9 IP holders, how many? It's just it's bizarre.
I think Tim Willits should be the leader of all of those IP holders.
No. It'd be, you know what? If Tim was in charge of Evil Dead, you'd be seeing the next Evil Dead in first person. You ever seen the end of Doom with Carl Urban?
Yeah.
So it would be like that throughout the entire movie. Be like, what I decided here is to put my own spin on Evil Dead and really
Evil Dead first person.
grasp what it could have been like in Quake. So just first
Quake.
Person, yeah.
Guys have no idea how good Quake is, man. No, yeah, but Stranger Things for sure, dude. I would agree. You know, and that I'll tell you, that is, if that isn't the biggest ultimate cash grab, then I don't know what is. But
you think it would be a cash grab?
Trying to get those people together, to do it, all of them would be down. You know, but I feel like outside of Millie Bobby Brown, she might not. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't get that vibe from her that she would kind of be on board.
I mean, I think it's the perfect time because going through the series now, they're at like 18 nearly, aren't they, in the series? So now I think
would you want it to be a continuation of Stranger Things, or would you want it to be like season 1 through season 5?
So
because then you would have to,
as an ASYM, I think it would need a way of it being its own like lore separate from the franchise itself.
Very true. Yeah.
So, you know, it could just be a thing where these people are pulled into the Upside Down from different like places. Like, we don't know a lot about the Upside Down, but the writers could get creative here where it's like, you know, multiverse stuff, you know, some bringing in some new characters from a different place. Like, you could go get really creative with that. I don't know if it would work if it was in terms of playing it season by season. However, I'd love to see stuff brought from the show, especially the characters included. You know, you need to see the characters there. Otherwise, people aren't going to. I mean, people would play it, but people want their iconic Steve Harrington and Hopper in 11.
Yeah. Hopper.
Yeah, exactly. And for the setups as well, the mall from season 3 being brought in as a map. You know, just all the potential there from that. They could get really smart, really creative with it, and it would be fucking internet breaking in terms of an announcement.
The mall in season 3, holy shit, that would be insane.
That would look so good.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah,
and the marketing is perfect for them because they know how to market on Netflix. Trust me, like that whole scenario. You know,
it would blow up.
Absolutely.
And I think we could be getting close to that. I think there is that one license for an ASYM that's gonna really, really have behavior finally quickening their boots and being like, oh shit, how are we gonna go toe to toe with that? And I think the only capable, I think the only capable one is Halloween or Stranger Things. I think they're the only capable ones that are going head to head with them.
I don't know. I think Stranger Things and Halloween are, like you said, the go-to for sure right now.
Yeah. I
don't think behavior has ever had, you know, has ever had that feeling.
Looking over their shoulder.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, because they know, you know, they already saw like the bullshit that Saber presented us with, but also with Gunn, there's 12 people.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that. 12 people are working on Texas Chainsaw Massacre right now. Like,
and do you think majority of that workforce is like sumo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, outside of, you know, the promotion, and that's what's killing, you know, that's what's killing it right now is they're still being super, super transparent, commenting on everything. And
that's the important thing.
I hope it's Wes and the team because I really enjoy being a part of their community and what's you know transpired so far, and I hope it doesn't die immediately.
I mean, I said it when the game come out. I didn't like the game that much when it first come out. I'm only like the last few months I really got into it. But I had this weird feeling about it. But everyone kept coming to my chat and they were like, "Oh, this is unbalanced. That's unbalanced. This streamer said this is broken," and I was just like, "Stop! Take a step.
Shut up.
Take a step back and breathe, please." The game, you need to give the game like 2 months to settle down. All these DVD content creators, they're going to fuck off back to their Dead by Daylight game. And then we're going to see the proper core player base. And then you need to start looking at what they want instead of balancing it because Otstarver doesn't like being smacked in the face off a door or whatever.
Right.
That's what they have done, I think. I think that's the smart play. And yeah, the game has declined a little bit, mainly probably because of the PC crossplay being cut off at the moment and the hackers and all that shit. But again, as long as it's got a steady core player base, I think the game's going to do just fine. I'm kind of glad it kind of settled down now from the huge spike it had on Twitch for about a month or whatever.
Yeah, get it to where it's supposed to be. Weed out the people that want it to be, negative from the jump, and it's anybody. And you'll know that there's so many people that will die on a hill for Dead by Daylight before they even admit that they had fun playing this game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even if they had one good experience, they'll never let you know about it.
I've seen people from DBD come out and say, "Oh, TCM's repetitive." I'm like, bro, you've been playing the same fucking game mode for 7 years with one objective. Yeah. Don't tell me anything's repetitive right now.
Baby. Kick a gen.
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy. So just
hopefully the future,
Yeah.
Hopefully the future brings us some good content and be able to continue to, push that out for the masses.
So yeah, let's hope we're getting a Stranger Things asym or Halloween or
I agree.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Take me there. Take me to fucking Freddy's Dream World in an asym game. Dude. The combat asym.
Fucking do them all.
Yeah. Do all of them, yeah. Just having this is the problem with asyms right now is, we're always stuck with that one game.
Fucking slasher, right? Or 1980s.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just stuck.
All of them. All of them.
We never like have that battle royale feel that we have with the asym games where it's like, I'm getting kind of bored of Fortnite. Let me just hop onto this game, like Warzone, and check out the new skins or something. Like, we don't have the kind of back and forth we can have with battle royales in asym games. Where at the moment now, the demise of Evil Dead. Unfortunately, there's another one that's got a gravestone, along with Resident Evil Resistance, which I thought was spectacular. I don't know if you played that.
I never played it.
Did you hear about it at all?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so absolutely. It was a lot like Evil Dead with the whole Dungeon Master role.
Dungeon Master, right.
Yeah, and just being able to play as Jill and a bunch of characters in that, combat orientated and spawning, possessing things.
Yeah. I'm sure that Evil Dead derived a lot of its core mechanics.
Without a doubt.
From Resistance, yeah.
Without a doubt.
I watched a lot, but I never played it. Never got around.
And there's Predator Hunting Grounds, Ghostbusters out there, and there's Evolve was out there, and they all just come and gone. And now we're just kind of, it feels to me, we're just kind of left with, TCM and Dead by Daylight now. And again, it's showcasing how the hide and seek games, TCM for me is a bit more faster paced, right? It's not just so much hide and seek.
Yeah.
And
it just was crazy to think that
all these combat ones. All the combat asyms just going into the grave every time. I'm like, what's going on? They're the most fun.
Dude, you know what other one I had a lot of fun with? Was Deceive Inc.
Yeah.
Whoa, that shit was fun, man.
It's still going, isn't it?
But it's still going, but it's there's like 5 people watching it on Twitch. So it's dead.
It's
dead
that's Tripwire as well, who's doing Killing Floor. I don't know if they developed it or published it though. They probably didn't develop it. I think they're just publishers for Deceive Inc. But Tripwire is a fucking MVP of the industry with what they've done with Killing Floor, and I prayed they would take over Evil Dead from Saber. I prayed for it.
Yeah.
Because I think they would have redeemed it.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, what
anybody else?
Yeah, anybody else. Saber, like someone said, the perfect thing in my chat was Saber was the best to make this game, just not the best to support it. Like, they were terrible for it.
Correct. They absolutely slayed it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good transition for us to
positives.
Talk about the positives.
Yeah.
The, core mechanics for me, combat.
Yeah.
Voice actors.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's literally what I've got written down
everybody
too.
on board.
Yeah.
And then there was a few things, small things that really made me just, I guess you would use the word proud to like be a part of this game. Yeah. The removal of player levels after they realized that they probably never should have put them in. But listening to us was one of the examples that they actually did. Yeah. Because player levels were a problem in lobby.
Who were 11?
Extending the queue times.
Who were 11? Everyone knows who 11 is.
11, right? It was a big problem, and they listened to us and removed it. That was big for me. I was like, you know what? Thank you. Yeah. Something so small, but it was big. Something that I wish TCM would bring in. The fucking friends list was massively improvement in Saber side for Evil Dead than the code system that we're dealing with in TCM.
That had to be something to do with Epic.
It was. Now I'll tell you, it is not Gun's fault that we don't have a friends list. I tell you what Matt told me was the reason why is because we would have to make an entire new website. Epic Games was already established. Yeah. Right. So it took Saber 5 seconds to create a friends list for that game. They already had a friends list implementation for Epic Games. Yeah. Because you can go to Epic Games, create a profile, boom. Yeah. Right. With Texas, you don't have that option. They don't have a Gun Media Games website to where you can create an account and have a friends list. So Matt said they'll look into it, but it's not on the plate right now. Does that make sense?
It's so brutal though.
Get used to it. Either way, that was something that was a really good positive for me. Yeah. With Evil Dead was them at least implementing that into the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Considering I was worried with World War Z. World War Z had the code system.
Right.
The same thing what TCM has, and I was like, oh, is Saber gonna put the friends list in? As botched as the friends list system was, because it wasn't perfect. At least it worked in some degree.
Yeah. And I mean, the blocking never worked, right?
No, that's the whole blocking
and the whole reporting feature never worked.
So what happened was one of my last streams, I was like, all right, I'll accept everybody here. So I went to the friends list section. I had like 100 people sent friend requests. I was like, all right, I'm going to accept you all. So I was like, accept. And then every time I hit accept, please wait. Please wait.
Please wait.
Please wait. I was like,
please wait.
Oh, God. Why is this so slow?
So many.
Yeah. So the friends list wasn't perfect, but I still think it was enough to have in the game, the bare minimum.
And the last thing that really stuck out to me is one of the most easiest cosmetic updates in the game, which aesthetic updates in the game for me. And that is the implementation of when you actually, if you notice, prior to the update, there was actual, when you look at the page book, the Necronomicon on the screen, whatever skin you had equipped did not coincide with the actual profile picture of that person.
Oh, yeah.
And then in game, on the bottom left side of your screen, where you have everybody's player names and their health bars and everything. Yeah. With that update, whatever skin you were using changed the picture of that skin.
Yeah, that was a nice
screen and on the mini map. It's so easy. It's so simple, right?
Yeah, little things like that goes a long way.
And right now in Texas, whatever skin you have equipped on Leatherface,
you still stand in the lobby.
You're still as the fucking when you're readied up and you're looking at everybody's player levels. Yeah, the little circle, it's still the default Leatherface skin, which is now it just bugs me.
Yeah, because you had it enabled.
Saber figured it out. Yeah, and now I don't have it. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's multiple positives more that we can go into. We all know what it is, you know, again, just content, combat,
the
lore, Easter eggs,
the graphics,
incredible,
absolutely amazing.
The sound, the music,
the weapons,
everything, weapons, outside the saw gun and we don't fuck with the saw gun,
the pipe,
but but the sound, the audio design was huge, and
again, getting the original soundtrack there as well. Getting the OG guy to work on the music. Just everything like that was just paid massive homage to the IP, and they did it in such a good way and such a well creative way as well, with the Dark Ones, how they introduced the Necronomicon to the game, just all that, just making the objectives, how they made the universe in general, like the whole lore behind it, of him pulling in people who have fought alongside Ash from the Necronomicon. Like, he's trying to summon Ash, he's bringing in all these other people, and endless possibilities there, and how they designed the lore for the game.
I agree.
It could have been amazing.
It's so good. Oh, and one last thing, just for kind of a little bit of a trivia, for everybody that was wondering, with the vinyl, which I think you can see.
Yeah, I see it
right there. The vinyl took like 11 months to get to us.
Yeah, it did.
Everybody was like, "Yo, fuck Saber, this is that." I just want everybody to know that the positive thing was Saber tried to get that to us, or Boss Team Games, whichever one was involved.
It was Boss Team Games.
Right. It was never their fault. You know what actually was the cause of that?
I thought it was the manufacturer who did the vinyls, right?
Right, but you know why?
No.
It's because there's a little known pop star named Adele.
Oh God.
She's not little known, but Adele demanded her latest album, which was at the time of the release of this game, whenever it was and whatever that album is, that her album be pressed on 500,000 vinyls, and we had literally no material. That is exactly why the vinyl shortage was caused because of Adele's latest album. Fun trivia fact.
That's a good one,
though. How wild, dude.
All right, guys, we're going to end it there. I appreciate Weezy being on this podcast with me. We've had a really good back and forth and a good rant about, sadly, the demise of Evil Dead, and it sucks we're in this fucking position, 16, 17 months later after the game's just been released. But I want to hear your thoughts down below again about the stuff we've talked about. What do you guys think is the future of ASYMs? What was your positives to take from Evil Dead, the game? Because I know there's just been a lot of negativity, and rightfully so, because the game did just get its development cut. But yeah, I honestly want to hear more positive things, and it sucks to have to keep talking about all the negative shit. It really is, and just being transparent with everyone, that's the best we can be, really. Like, we're trying to be full transparent. How we feel as content creators, leaving the game behind and stuff, it's not great. But sadly, it's like we're kind of forced to do it. We don't want to. We don't want to.
Never wanted to.
No,
never wanted to. Yeah,
it's the last thing we wanted to do. But you guys should check out Weezy. He's got a YouTube. He's trying to get 500 subs right now. So I'll leave a link in a pinned comment down below. You can go check him out there. Try and get him to 500 subs. And you can go check him out on Twitch as well. He's on TCM right now. He's streaming like 6 hours a day, which is absolutely insane. I get about 4.5, 5 hours, and I'm like, nah, I need to go get myself some food.
Yeah, I almost died today. Need some food. Yeah. Streams are Thursday evenings and Sunday, Monday mornings.
Yeah,
so, for sure.
Yeah, always a good vibe to hang out in there. Good cook, man.
Yes,
let him cook.
Let me cook, dude, please.
Yeah. Anything you want to say, Weezy? And a Connie man, yeah.
And a Connie man.
Anything you want to say?
I just appreciate all the love and support over the last 9 months, for my own personal journey. And then, of course, all the love that you guys have always shown you know, Pixels himself and the rest of, you know, all of us content creators here on YouTube and over on Twitch, and anybody that's been involved, you know, minus any major setback that we've always that any of us have ever had of anything.
Yeah.
You know, this is ultimately our passion. We all can come together as one because gaming is the medium.
Yeah.
So
well, that's it. It's just so many people have gotten through so much shit because of this game. I think that's really, really nice thing. And just finding a community that has the similar interests. It's just it's fun. Yeah, it's really fun, and it's I feel like it's just so unique here because it's a niche that it's not very popular, but you find just so many amazing people in this niche.
Yeah, it's popular within this niche, and that's all that matters. And again, you know, if we all can just come on common ground, regardless if you're a family main, victim main, demon main, survivor main.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we love horror and we love games, and that's how I look at it. You know. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button. What?
I said thank you.
Oh, you said thank you. I was like, I go on my full outro mode there. But yeah, hit the like button, leave me a comment, leave Weezy a comment. We really want to know your guys' thoughts about all of this discussing the podcast. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixels, this has been Weezy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.